everyone, we are having spaghetti and meatballs all in one pot. That is the fabulous thing about Pampered Chef. You can make lots and lots of meals all in one pot. So the pot I'm using tonight is you can't see it, hold on just a second. Is our multi-purpose pot with steamer. There we go. Our multi-purpose pot with steamer. And in the pot, I have my spaghetti noodles, my marinara sauce, my water, and some beef stock. As the recipe calls for, I have it on high. I'm going to let it boil, and I'm going to stir it occasionally. Well, while that's doing its little thing, I'm over here in my little steamer that's going to fit down inside of that and making meatballs. Check it out. So the only thing I've done is I've taken my manual food processor and I've chopped up my bread. I've added my eggs. I've added my meat. I've added all of my seasonings that it asked for. And now I'm taking my small scoop and I'm just making little balls, meatballs, with that and just placing them inside of the steamer. So what's going to happen is when my spaghetti starts boiling, I'm going to turn it down some and I'm going to lower my steamer into it, and my meatballs are going to cook and my spaghetti is all going to cook at one time. I did spray my steamer pot here with just a little bit of oil. I sprayed it with some olive oil. I'm just taking you're not going to be able to tell that these are really meatballs, but they are. They'll look a little better when they are cooked up. So here are my meatballs that I've just placed inside of my steamer, and I'm going to place this steamer inside of our pot. So I'm going to let my noodles boil a little because my recipe says once the pasta mixture reaches a boil, reduce the heat, remove the lid, stir, and I'm going to place in my steamer pot with my meatballs in it. And then I'm going to cook it for like 6 to 9 minutes or until my meatballs are cooked through. So I just want to bring it back over here and I want to show you that the lid will also pop up on the side of this so that it stands there while I'm stirring and I'm not dripping water everywhere. So I'm still just waiting for my noodles to boil a little. I'm going to turn them up just a little bit more. The last time I fixed this, my kids really loved it. So it took a pound of macaroni, of spaghetti noodles, a jar of spaghetti marinara sauce, a box of beef stock, and then I've just taken some hamburger meat and mixed that and the bread and mixed it up in my manual food processor, chopped my bread up real fine, and I've just mixed it all up in my mixing glass bowl. I've took my small scoop and made little meatballs out of it. Here's my meatballs, and I'm just going to drop them I'm going to drop this whole thing, I'm just going to lower it into the spaghetti sauce. And you're going to see when it starts boiling and I do that the spaghetti sauce, you can see the little strainer holes. So the spaghetti sauce, or the marinara sauce, and the beef stock and the water and all is going to float through these little holes. This is the neatest pot I have ever seen. I absolutely love it. When it came out back in the spring of the year, I had my eye on it and I was like, I have got to have that pot. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know why I need that pot, but I have got to have it. So far we've done a couple of recipes in it. We have done this one pot spaghetti, and I've done my hamburger meat because it's meatballs in one pot along with my noodles and my sauce. Whereas normally I would have had to take a skillet and fry up my hamburger meat, or even put my hamburger meat in a micro cooker and stick it in the microwave. while my noodles are cooking, but no, I'm going to do it all in one pot. So I have a one pot meal, and I've messed up very few dishes, just a couple here to make the meatballs, and that's it. So I think I hear my noodles boiling. You can tell the top of the lid is getting a little foggy, so it's probably boiling. Oh yeah. So I'm just going to stir these just a little. Look at that. Doesn't that look yummy? So my recipe says that once the pasta mixture reaches a boil, reduce the heat to medium. And I'm just reading the recipe along as I go so that I kind of know what I'm doing. So I've reduced it to medium, and it says to remove the lid. And the reason I'm going to remove the lid is because the strainer is going to come across over this as well. So my lid just pops off, and here it goes, guys. Now watch, this is the best part. So here's my meatballs, and there's my spaghetti sauce and my noodles, and I'm just going to lower it in and watch the sauce come up. Can you see the sauce? Look at it bubbling up over the meatballs. So my meatballs are going to have the spaghetti marinara sauce, and my spaghetti is going to have the meat flavor in it as well. So I'm going to reduce the heat, and I'm going to, well, I've already started, and I've placed up my steamer, placed my steamer in, and I'm going to cover it back up. And even with the steamer on it, you just kind of turn the handles to the side, and the lid still fits. So I'm just going to pop my lid on there, and I'm going to let it cook for about, it says 6 to 9 minutes, and you're basically just letting your meatballs cook because your noodles have already cooked, and you could tell that they were a little soft when we stirred them before we put that on there. Guys, just look at that. Can you hear it kind of bubbling and roaring up? Listen, this is one of my favorite products of Pampered Chef. So I want to make sure that you guys get to see this. So I'm going to let them cook for about 6 to 9 minutes. Let me set my timer. And I'm going to set it for about 8 minutes. I don't know that I'll chit-chat with you that long, but I do want to go over a couple of things. Once it's done, I'm just going to remove the steamer, and I'm going to set it on a little heating pad. And then I'm going to stir my noodles, make sure they're good. And then I'm going to pour my meatballs into the pot, and it's going to be done. One meal, one pot. That is fabulous, guys. That is what I love about Pampered Chef. So other things I want to go over with you right quick. We also used our microblade cheese grater to grate up the Parmesan cheese. Guys, this is a little tricky. So when I first got this, it comes in the package like this. You can see it's folded down and it lays nice and neat. And I'm thinking, okay, how do I get this open? It's not budging. What am I doing wrong? So I had my children try to get it open. We pulled, we yanked, it wouldn't open. So the blonde here goes to YouTube. How to open a microblade Pampered Chef grater. And all you do is you just push your little finger into the side and it lifts right up. Now how simple is that? And then you just do the same thing to lower it back down. Push it away from you and then lower it back down. So that way it stores nice and easily, and it's not stored standing up, or it's not stored nice and long. You can store it as a small little piece. So that is absolutely wonderful once I figured out how to use it. So that's just a little tidbit there. And I also want to let you know my recipe called for shredded Parmesan cheese. So instead of buying the bagged cheese, which, let me tell you, is not good for you. If you've ever noticed in the bagged cheese, there's like a white powder on it. Well, that white powder is like some kind of sawdust or something that kind of keeps it, preserves it or something. It's not really good for you. So you're really a lot better off to buy your blocks of cheese. This is a triangle instead of a block of Parmesan cheese. And then of course you already have, or will be getting, your Pampered Chef microblade. And you can just shred as much as you need. And another tip about the cheese is, I was watching Dr. Oz the other day and they were talking about blocks of cheese, and it says that if you put it in the freezer and let it get really good and cold, when you get ready to slice it on the microblade, that it's going to slice a lot easier and it's not going to be like mushy. So that's a good good little tip right there to hang on to as well. So I also used my mixing top. You can see there's still some raw meat on it. Instead of sticking my hands down in the hamburger meat and messing up and gooing around with the hamburger and the eggs and the bread and all of the seasonings, I just took my I just took my mixing chop, and I just chopped and stirred up all of those ingredients. So I got it stirred up and chopped up really good with this. So this is a must-have, a tool for every kitchen. We use it just about every night. Again, whether it's for cooked hamburger meat that might have been in the microwave, and instead of standing over the stove, you know, mashing it with the fork, making sure that it's gotten really, really small for you, you were able to take this mixing chop and just chop it up and stir it up and chop it up and stir it up, and it gets it really nice and thin for you. Or, you know, into the little chunks. And then I took my little scoop, you guys saw me do that, to make my meatballs with. I want to swing you back over. We're about halfway through our meal here. I want to swing you back over, and I want to pop up my handle, and you can see there that my noodles are starting to cook. I mean, not my noodles, I'm sorry. That my meatballs are starting to cook, and that they're getting brown. Look at that. And they are actually turning into meatballs, and you can actually tell that they're meatballs now. I'm not really going to stir it or mess with it. I am going to turn it down just a little bit more, just because I don't want anything to burn. I'm just going to pop my lid back on there, and we're going to let it cook for just a few more minutes. So guys, this is one very awesome pot that you need to check out. It's called the multi-purpose pot with steamer. So there's lots of things you can do with it. The other thing that we have done with it is a barbecue chicken salad with lots of ingredients and things that are cooked in it, and the chicken's cooked in it. So it was really, really delicious. So you'll want to make sure that you check that out as well. I don't really think that there's anything right off that I want to, let me show you. This is one of our favorite products, which you'll hear me say multiple times, lots of favorite products with Pampered Chef. This is one of my favorite. It's very simple and very easy to use. You can have a very nutritious breakfast with it, as well as a little snack, a little dessert, a little brownie, a little peach cobbler, something yummy as well. You stick it in the microwave. It's as simple as that. 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of water, or 1 tablespoon of milk, stir it up, put your lid on it, stick it in the microwave for a minute, you've got a scrambled egg. Add a little meat, you've got an omelet. There's recipes for brownies, for muffins, you can do oatmeal in it. Lots and lots of different things that you can do in this, so you want to make sure that you check this out as well. It's one of our favorites. So I'm just going to swing you back around here and let you look at my pot just a few more minutes. It's not going to be long before I'm just going to take a look at it. I am going to go ahead. It's been about 6 minutes, and I'm going to take my meat thermometer, which Pampered Chef has a neat little meat thermometer, because you always want to make sure that your chicken especially is at 165. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to check, and of course the little red sleeve comes off, and I'm just going to check my hamburger meat and see what we're at. You can hear it bubbling, and it smells so good. One thing that this does too is it has made a well inside of that spaghetti noodles. So we're going to make sure that when we do take this out, we're going to stir those noodles up really good. Wouldn't hurt if those cooked just a couple more minutes, and we have about 57 seconds left. I'll probably do just a few more minutes. But guys, you can see right here I've done 1 pot, 1 meal. My spaghetti noodles, my sauce is in the bottom, my hamburgers in the steamer on the top. It's going to be delicious. It smells absolutely divine, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. And I know my boys are going to love it. Who doesn't like spaghetti? It's pretty simple to make, and this right here was less than 30 minutes. And I know we all have super busy lives and lots going on. So that's one thing that Pampered Chef is really good for, is getting those meals on the table, from the stove to the table, super quick, so that you can make those memories with those kids, husbands and wives as well.